So this is my 81 CJ7, and I'm going to go over the rear tire carrier. There's a bunch of pieces to this. There are a couple other good videos online that you can look at. A cool guy goes through this pin and the end caps a fair amount, and some of the other the different pieces here. Let me go through those real quickly. So this is, again, I powder coated this. You can kind of see the profile there. I looked at a lot of pictures online, try to figure out like how that was supposed to go. I think there was supposed to be a little bit more of a dip here. Mine were all kind of messed up. I had to rebend them, and I'll show how that goes in a minute. I just put this backing on there just to protect the paint a little bit once I get that done. And then also the end of the rear tire carrier, and I'll show it to you in a few minutes, slides up right in here, and the pin goes there and locks it in place. I didn't want to, I know that's going to scuff this up quite a bit, and there might be even a little bit of rattle as you go over bumps. So what I did was, and I think it works out pretty well, is I just cut myself from, I think this is the top of a Folgers can, just real thin flexible plastic, and I cut it so that it goes right in there and it acts as a little buffer, and you almost can't even see it. This is a bumper. Again, this goes right up in there, and the rear tire carrier hinges right into that. And then you have your two bolts that go right in. And I think all these are 3/8/16 there. And so that whole assembly, and you can kind of see there's still room for the pin to go there, and I'll again go over that when I get it installed back again. And then there's a plate, just like there's a plate, and this is to reinforce that where it attaches, that goes on the other side here, and I'll show that. I think that should be pretty stable. You can kind of see where this goes right up in there, and this plate goes right on the back. Acts as reinforcement. Then you've got the two nuts right here. Those go right on and attach it right up. It's pretty straightforward. But again, that plate reinforces that. And you can position this a little bit. There's a little bit of play in there, about a 1/2 inch play up and down. Pull this down a little bit. Plastic piece, give myself a little bit more room. There we go. I'll pick the camera up and show that a little bit. So again, that's where it sits, right there. Again, you kind of see the profile with a rubber bumper here, and now it slides right up on there. So again, you can kind of see where the plastic covers it right there, just to protect it again. So that's how this bracket goes on. The bracket over here, kind of see the two brackets. And there is a plastic washer that's supposed to, I bought a new bumper kit. My bumpers were really old. Got it on eBay. It was like $24, something like that. But honestly, you could probably go to Ace Hardware or something like that. Just buy a couple of bumpers. Kind of see there's one here. There's a little metal washer right in the back there. There's a little screw. The screw goes right into the tire carrier. Kind of see, I even put a black washer here. I put a black plastic washer on the bottom there too, but I'm going to use this bigger fender washer. I'm going to replace those. I'm just going to pull those bolts out. You guys see that's not even tied in there right now. Sorry, let me find the nuts here. So these nuts are the same ones that go on the other side, and they go right underneath there. And so that's there. So there is a bracket also that reinforces this top piece. I was actually missing this bracket, but you can find it. It's like on eBay. I bought it from a guy on Facebook, one of the groups. But they're right here. Again, I sandblasted and powder coated it. Just bolted it in so it acts as, you can kind of see how it acts as a brace to keep this top part nice and secure. And those are captured, not captured, but they're welded in some kind of bolt heads that come around to the other side there. At least mine were. And then down here, same kind of thing. There is also one behind here. It took me a while to figure it out, but those two right here, if you fish under there, there's a long bracket that sits there like an L bracket, a shelf bracket that bolts in here. There's a plate going on the inside there. It's just right up underneath where the gas pipe is. In fact, I had to disconnect the gas cap in that line to get to it sufficiently. And again, there's two bolts there, so it's this L bracket that goes around there and provides some reinforcement and attaches it to here. So there's pretty good reinforcement for each of the different pieces as it attaches. And then over here, let's see, you got the, and here's two more bumpers, and I'll show how those connect up in a second. And then there's this, and I believe that this is the original. I just kind of shined this up a little bit. And I see it threads into here. There's a captured nut in there. That's a welded nut. I think this may be 1/2 inch. I'm not sure. I think it may be 1/2 inch though. But again, it just bolts into here, screws into there, and there's a lock nut there. You just tighten that down, and this, you can kind of size it out depending on, because it touches the tire. I'll put the tire on and do some video of when the tire's on, but I wanted to show it without the tire initially. So essentially, let me put the gate back up. And put those down. Okay. Okay, you can kind of see where the bumpers go in. It's interesting because the bumpers, and then, but then this goes right now. You can kind of see it goes right under there and it holds it. That's why that piece is a little bit higher. I believe this is supposed to sit and pinch this, but I don't really see a need for it. I mean, because like I said, I had to bend this around a little bit to get it even working the way it is. So that sits there pretty securely. This, also that rubber piece there, or the little shrink wrap, kind of acts as a little additional buffer and kind of holds that in place. I've been driving around a little bit and haven't had any issues with it. So that's the whole tire carrier without the tire. Again, you can kind of see where the bumper, let me go back to the bumpers. The bumpers sit midway below the tailgate itself. And then also taking a look at these bumpers here, because I wasn't sure where these were going to hit. It's interesting that the bumpers are set up to be basically hold the tailgate in place. I mean, you have the latch here, but those bumpers will hold that in place, so you can't open it up and scuff anything up or scrape anything up on the tire carrier with those bumpers there. You got the same thing down here too. And see, I did buy one of those kits where it comes with little plugs. Again, I think at Ace Hardware you could probably get these. I forget what that is, and these are different sizes. The outer dimension is the same between here and here. The tubing is the same on the outer dimension, but the inner dimension is a little bit different. So you're going to need slightly different sized plugs on the end of these. Just to confirm, you may want to measure yours before you go get them. So there's two on a little bit, and then two on this end too. Again, Cool Guy has a really good video where he shows the pin and the spring mechanism that goes in there, so I'm not going to go over it in any detail. All right, I'm going to put the tire back on, and then I'll kind of go over real quickly how the tire fits here. I actually don't know, this will be the first time I get my tire back on there, and see how it fits, and then also go over the bump stop. See a lot of questions online like what this thing is. I need to, once I get mine bent properly, I'm gonna sandblast it again, clean it up finally, put the bumper on there and bend this to the right orientation, because I want to make sure that the hole here where the bumper goes, there is a bumper for that. This is too long of a bolt, but that's a bumper for it. And see exactly what angle it's going to need to be to hit the tire right. But again, I'll go over that in a couple minutes. Okay, I have the bump stop on here for the tire. You're going to see, I am going to powder coat it. I am going to cut this bolt. It's too long, and kind of center it and clean this up a little bit. But just for the sake of getting this together, I just wanted to show, because I wanted to space it out before I powder coated it anyways, in case I had to bend a little bit to get around this contour. I didn't want to crack the powder coating, so kind of glad I did. Just to show you, I only have 3 bolts in there right now, but just to show you that this is a 1/4 inch 20 thread, and that's what goes in these 4 holes. Actually, 2 of them have like a little tapered point on them. I'm not quite sure why. Yeah, this one has a little point, this one doesn't. I don't know what the difference is, but which ones they go. It seems like the pointed ones would go in here. Again, if mine are original and we're in the right spot. And then the ones with the flat end, the tip, they seem to go better in here. This may be thicker right there. This just may be the sheet metal going through where you need the point. So I'll switch those bolts around, but again, just to let you know. What's that, like 1/2 inch, 5/8, something like that in length. Again, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch head. But again, so there's a bump stop. Notice how it's angled. Mine's angled a little bit up. I might kind of bend this up. I mean, it was pretty mangled because this whole corner was dented in when I bought the Jeep. I banged it out a little bit. I got it reasonably decent until I can get better work done on it. But anyways, this was pretty banged up. It's angling up, and so we're going to bring the tire around. Again, and I know this is going to be different for everybody who may got bigger tires, got lift kits and things like that. In case it matters, I'm running the 235/75 R15s. So this is what was on the other 4, and they were relatively new tires when I got it about 2 years ago. And actually, I just got this 5th spare onto the rim today. So this is the first time that I'm seeing this as well. It's kind of exciting. But anyway, I just wanted to show where the bumps stop. So notice here that it's gonna bang into some stuff. If this wasn't here, this would swing all the way around. It'd probably clip the edge here. So again, I see a lot of questions like, what's this thing for? What's it? But it's a tire bump stop. You can see it stops it right there. I thought it was gonna hit out here, but you can kind of see it just hits right on the end there. So maybe even an outward angle a little bit. This is facing down. It should be pointed out a little bit more that way, but that's actually pretty good the way that's hitting. I mean, it's certainly doing the job right now, because this goes around. Again, it closes all the way. Again, you kind of see where the bumpers are right here. And the bumpers, I actually had to adjust mine a little bit. Probably get a better angle around the other side. Not that it matters that much, but I mean, all it is but I think the camera will see a little bit better back here. Yeah, you can kind of see, I just put it in a little bit. I loosened up the lock nut, loosened it up, brought it in, so that this bottom bolt here would be pretty flat. Be nice to get one of the center caps for this. I might go ahead and do that at some point, but anyway, just for effect. This goes around, opens up. Again, what matters here is that, let's try to get a good angle. This comes around and hits it and stops it right there. So that's holding it up pretty well. But yeah, that should, yeah, it seems to be doing its job. Like I said, I think that angle works pretty well. It's, you know, it's funny, it's even pointed up a little bit. This is about level right here, so it's pointing up a tiny bit. Again, actually, while I'm putting the wider white fender washers, actually, I thought I'd take a quick shot of what it looks like on the inside. Also notice that there it is a little bit different. This rounded part goes on the top. There's a flat angled with an edge here, but the part that goes out just like an 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch over goes on the top, and the same with this one down here too. And then you can kind of see those bolts, they don't come loose, they're welded to the bracket itself. I almost forgot a pretty good part here. So this is the pin that goes at those two hinges, that top and bottom hinge for the tire carrier. And this is obviously original. It's pretty beat up, but it seems to still work pretty well. I just want to get some measurements on it. I mean, this fits right in the hole, and I measured it here, and that is 7/16. So if you can find, I would imagine you could get a carriage bolt set up like this. If you could find one that's 7/16 in the shaft, and then obviously this shaft needs to be at least that long to fit between the top and the bottom, to fit in there a pin so that it can hinge up, and then obviously this nut goes in the bottom and it just kind of pinches it at the bottom. I think I showed that a couple times. The length here is, if we start off at the 2, the length of it is exactly 1 3/4. So the shaft part of a carriage bolt, if you were to need to buy it, would need to be exactly 1 3/4 inches. Could probably be a little bit more than that or a little bit less, but that's about the range. And then the length of the threaded part at the bottom looks to be about somewhere in the 3/4 inch, 5/8, somewhere in there, maybe 5/8. That probably matters less because it's just going to thread right through and go in the bottom. But anyway, if you're looking for some kind of carriage bolt or something to replace the original pins, again, that go into the right there, yeah, 1 3/4. That would be what you get. Again, 7/16 and 1 3/4.